If I hear the sound of an airplane some quiet night when there's just me and Liddy, my spaniel, and then a car goes by, the radio is playing a song that's going by so fast, and I think of where I was just a few months ago in Scotland. Maybe you're wondering why I had it in my mind to visit Scotland this past fall. Maybe I'm wondering too, but probably it had much to do with my ancestry on my dad's side, the Murdochs and the McAllisters. Or maybe it was something else reaching out to me. It was November 2023. November, where are you going so fast? We still wishing on a star, waiting for that northern light to guide us from afar. All my life, there was a picture of an idyllic place. It was untouched by time and technology. It was vivid and strong unto itself, much as I like to see myself. Each year I'd say, now I'll start the planning. But it never really happened until suddenly this past year. It seemed like the right time to go there. And as I had made a good friend in the UK, Brian Wheeler, whom I'd met when he contacted me in 2019 in response to a letter that I'd written in the UK Roger Smith publication, Ready, Steady, Gone, and who had written a wonderful article about his discoveries of my life when signed with my manager, Michael Jeffrey, who was Jimi Hendrix's manager also. This article called The Original Electric Lady, Shindig Magazine, May 2020. Of course, I was delighted to have this trip to look forward to, and yet I was also nervous, as I wondered if my first trip to London, at last to see the city that Michael Jeffrey had always wanted me to go to, and early in my life had also been urged to attend school there by a Mr. Michaels of the Rudolf Steiner School. This trip so changed my perspective and direction that going back to the UK, visiting my ancestral roots became like a major goal. I already knew some of what I had to do to get ready, outside of getting the tickets and choosing some new luggage, a pale pearl rose color, which felt smoother and better equipped to make the trip. But there were other things to think about. There was so much to prepare for, and it seemed like an endless array of details, which began to feel too daunting to even be real. With me, it's often related to a wardrobe and colors, exact styles that feel right, in the sense of a journey. Once I figure out footwear, for instance, the rest seems to fall into place. I tried, really, to avoid bringing anything that would make walking around difficult. Even if the shoes looked great, it was a matter of the reality of being able to walk in them. As a result, I tested several pairs, wearing them full days, hiking far and wide around Brooklyn, taking the long way around everywhere, and making sure I tired myself out enough to really know what the deal was. Gradually, I began to eliminate some and add some from eBay, but then I got too focused and would do this whole testing and returning things that I realized wouldn't work. Finally, the wardrobe fell together and the trip became an actual reality. Of course, when you have pets, pet care becomes a major consideration. Luckily, I was able to round up enough coverage for my English Cocker Spaniel, Liddy. I couldn't believe it when finally I was standing outside my building, waiting for the car to get me to the Grand Central Station shuttle bus to Newark Airport. It felt strangely miraculous that I had somehow arrived at the right terminal and with tons of time. Somehow, in the trail to locate the right holding area for my flight, I happened to pass by a colorful grand piano in the lobby, and since there was so much time to spare, settled in for a good amount of piano time there, which was a happy interlude and a way to connect to people going back and forth at the airport. There's a feeling of excitement and suspense when you finally get all situated, waiting at the holding area and lining up to get on the actual plane. I began to get really fairy tale sense, seeing all the people who were about to board. It was as though I had suddenly stepped into a dream of a storybook land where soft earth colors and flowing materials replaced the sharp black and white themes of my regular New York City life. People smiled. They seemed interested in talking, and being on that flight began to feel like another home to me. Seems like from the moment I walked through that corridor in Newark Airport, all papers ready and looking for my gate number, then suddenly that hand-painted grand piano right in the middle of the path. Gazing at it as I passed by, wait, no, there's still so much time before takeoff. Can I really just walk by and pretend that it's imaginary or off limits or display purposes only? What if I just sit down on the bench for a minute? And what if I get a little salad from the shop along the way and sit on the bench like I was at home there and have the salad? Okay, so far, I'm resting my backpack down next to one of the piano legs. Then I'm taking off my coat and folding it on the bench. Well, the salad is done. Still so much time left. What if I just softly hit a few little notes? That seems very reasonable, right? Whoops. A little tune is coming out. Okay, still okay. No one says stop. So what if a whole song emerges? Nothing is happening to prevent it, right? Soon there's like a small gathering around the piano, fellow travelers on their way, some with misty eyes. As I play something that hits a familiar chord of somewhere, someone going to or going from, we're all doing this. I mean, traveling to and from, and destiny knows all the chords. Soon it's time to get to the boarding area of my gate. Then I begin to see the changing happening. Am I in a film of Brigadoon? Friendly, lovely faces, soft pastel clothing, ladies and gentlemen. A small crew of military fellows lines up, bright eyes and strong shoulders, after mommies with babies and small children, seeming like cherubs in a painting. A sweet couple reassures me that I'm sitting in the right spot and listen for the cues, Group A, B, or C. I'm C. The man even draws a map for me of the airport in Edinburgh, and I'm on the tram which can take me to the Haymarket station, which is near the hotel that I'm staying in. Another fellow observing chuckles softly. I'll probably not be able to find all this, and just take an Uber. Of course you can, says the first, not complicated. Just follow the path where other people are headed. Probably it's where you want to go, and if not, ask again. The pretty wife with a soft pastel green dress and embroidered shawl nods. Now there's a collage of places, events, buses, trains, which took us to these amazing places. They appear like vignettes, each adventure so different from the last, and so vivid in every moment. I'm trying to be logical, that is, to describe each adventure in a very concise, pictorial way, but I find it very hard to do. I'm not an experienced traveler, and mostly I'm too mesmerized to give a really clear recounting of each event. We got up super early one of those days to queue up for the boat trip to see the Loch Ness Monster. For a fact, Loch Ness is a freshwater lake in Scottish in the Highlands of about 37 kilometers southwest of Inverness. It's a really deep lake. This is maybe one reason why the beloved monster is chosen to locate there. Because of her popularity and charismatic style, Nessie feels safe and secure in such deep waters, which are nice and dark, allowing her the utmost freedom and privacy when wished for, and yet enough time to show herself at choice intervals, as she is quite the showgirl. I think that's part of we see exotic nature. That she is both. When you watch the videos and an extra, you'll soon find out. Many of us can identify because sometimes paradoxes reveal themselves. at Edinburgh, Old Town, which connects Edinburgh Castle with the Palace of Holyrood House, climbing and climbing forever to see the whole magical area all around with towers and turrets and even the original cannons. Very little has changed there. So the feeling, the sights and the smells of the ancient rocks, the stones, and the metal seem to have voices and stories of their own to tell. Speaking of magic, and who among us doesn't, at least quietly or secretly or in dreams. Next, on to the Camera Obscura and the world of illusions and magic arts. There, so of course, we entered each floor of magic with the light exhibits one can experience firsthand, sometimes literally, by placing your hands into or onto a structure, and suddenly your hands will reveal something very unusual, like lights begin to transform the simplest of gestures into a fantastical explosion revealing cosmic activity. Other activities offer the opportunity to enter your whole self. This creates further phenomena, and each floor offered more and more ways to delve into these many mysterious actions. Now let's explore the event of this strange ghost bus. Not that the bus itself was a ghost, nothing that easy. Anyhow, how are you going to actually go on to something that is an apparition? Well, funny you should ask. When in Scotland, it becomes natural. The Edinburgh Ghost Tour. So, if you're thinking ghosts are scary, maybe dangerous, or non-existent even, then you're not on the Edinburgh Ghost Tour, or even thinking logically. After all, they're pretty easy to understand once you understand their motivations. Or maybe you think they have to be serious, but nobody can be that serious all the time. Anyhow, right? Hence the Edinburgh Ghost Bus Tour. First, picture a strange old bus. A 1960s Routemaster that's all black outside and has red velvet curtains on each window inside, with little red velvet lamps at each seat. And a tour guide with an avid tremolo, voicing each moment like a player in a touring Shakespeare stock company deep in the hills, waving his arms and clutching his hands in melancholic anger and horror, voice rising and falling vastly as the tour goes along, describing in horror each moment of every known ghost in town. Lights flash suddenly in the bus. Deep, mysterious voices are heard within the depths of some other dimension. As the lights begin to flicker and flash faster and faster, suddenly blanking out altogether.
Children, 5 women!
Screams of darkness with strange sounds and a puzzling conversation the tour guide is having with some dark, pulsating presence unseen to us except in odd flashes. The intricate stories, some dark and unusual secrets, which have become embedded in the streets and houses, witches, grave robbers, plague, and some more ghosts in the castles and fortresses are unfurled as the trip continues on to the graveyard, where we all got out and heard more tales by our emotional guide and took some photos. In further reflection, was fright the desired effect? Why were we laughing much of the time, a bit puzzled, and now in retrospect, how perfectly natural that some ghosts are funnier than others, right? Anyhow, the ghost tour started and ended at Northumberland Avenue and Trafalgar Square. Or did it? The Highlands. If we can't say for sure we really know ourselves, how can we ever know another, nor understand where we are exactly? As I stream through the photos of the time in the Highlands, it becomes a rush of deep and intense colors, an impressionist painting as the bus rolled onward, blues, greens, purple, violet, and sudden swath of crimson, Train tracks weave, spiral in and out of the hills, and a little farmhouse appears, clear white, with red roof, door, shutters, log fence all around, sheep in the meadow. And I found myself walking through the door in my imagination, opening that little red door like it was an everyday thing, and then saying out loud, I could be happy there. And Brian smiled. I could too, he said. I guess you know in reality, it's not logical to leave everything behind and be a sheep farmer, but in just those moments, with the steady rumbling of the bus winding into the hills, that little farmhouse along the road of Inverness seemed to hold a part of my heart. Here's where so much of the earth had never been pushed back by time or technology, where the will of the earth spoke stronger. Hiking through the hills felt exhilarating. Boots gathering the rich earth and breathing the bright air was like breathing itself. And the tastes, they were fuller, nurturing. Water had more form and flavor. Coffee was coffeeier. It was so fresh and carefully prepared. Though I may then maybe in that same way, Scotland still there you'll be within my heart, indelible part of until we meet again. So that's one way to find out who you really are. On deepest lakes, here's a song that I wrote through Caledonian Canal came to meet at last, dear Nessie. It started out with fame is true, and a melody emerged from there, swirling at the center. Where'er I go, a shadow appears, then beam of misty light. It's perfectly clear our Loch Ness monster is near. Then if you concentrate and make a wish, she'll appear with a thundering splash, for real. Through blue-green mountains of Kilmanveg did we climb across Sean Bridge, and Inverness had ourselves a merry time, on steps of stone from long ago, spiraling to clouds with castle walls. The ancient city standing strong, calling all to join, to trust. Some things do remain the same. The sudden rain, the brilliant sun, so many curtain calls till day is done. So, this is Scotland now, the land of ancient secrets, shyly shared in magnitude, in pulchritude, opening its arms to us. And each day revealed, each footstep, will likely lead us back your way again. Wherever I go, I know you'll be with me. There are reminders, travel itineraries, tucked into a pile of papers, books, and folders. There are boarding passes, receipts, and maps, photos and videos, and memories. Those are the keepers, the blueprints. These are the keepers, the blueprints, stencils, engravings that unfurl as the whirring sound of the plane slowly streamed along the runway, gathering speed, then lifting itself upward like a proud eagle, pushing across the sky, holding all of us like baby birds in a giant accelerated nest, into a world of moon and clouds, rain and then clear, farther and farther until, napping, watching in amazement, waking to have various feedings, then chatting some, napping again on travel pillows, airline blankets unfolded and covering us. Watching the screen, there is a sort of joy at seeing the exact place we are, the look of the proud eagle plane with alert face and wide wings coming to our destination. So now I have these memories, these moments lived in that fairy tale world. Trying to see it all over again, listen to words spoken, taste the foods, drink the potions that appeared at intervals, being so nervous, hoping that all would go well, holding on so tight to all the bright lights in the land where sunshine shies away so fast, winds rush in with the night, and yet there's always a glow in the sky somehow, and a glow in my heart and soul for having been in Scotland now.